me your name and what you do.
Yeah, I'm Cody Sauer. I'm a freelance level designer and world builder.
And what's your interest here at GDC?
Well, I wanted to take a look around to see what all of the other game engines are doing, and then I've known about the Oculus for a long time, and so well worth the wait, standing over there for 2 hours to try out this device. And it's my first taste of VR ever, and I can't say I could have gotten a better experience. So,
okay. So yeah. When you first put it on, what did you think?
It caught me off guard. I wasn't sure what to expect as far as like the stereoscopic, the 3D effect of it, and the fact that I was able to completely swivel around all the way and see behind me. Even though I'm in this little cockpit, I was able to still look around and see the chair behind me and see the guns on either side. It was just nice to be fully in this world as immersive as I could. It's very cool.
So were you part of the Kickstarter or anything?
I wasn't. I've kept my eye on it for a long time, and now I really wish I was. It's such an incredible project, and like, I could tell that from the start, but without actually trying, it's very hard. Without actually having the device on your head, it's so hard to get a real idea of what's capable of and what it does. And then trying it on, I'm absolutely blown away with it.
And so have you tried Hawken before?
I have. Yeah, I've been playing Hawken for a while, since it was an alpha, and knowing that it's already this incredibly intense, very, very fast-paced mech game. Trying it with the Oculus Rift, I can't imagine playing it any other way.
So you thought it was a substantially enhanced experience?
Oh yes, oh yes. And the team that made Hawken did an outstanding job translating the Oculus Rift into making it a very useful peripheral for the game. So.
Do you think that would actually add to the gameplay in terms of being able to maybe see?
Absolutely, yeah. One of the biggest things with Hawken playing competitively, you have to be able to check your corners. And because while you're boosting forward, you cannot turn. And so to be able to check a corner, you have to stop boosting, turn, look around, move the whole mech, and then go back to boosting. And then with the Oculus Rift, I was able to just turn, look, check my corner while still boosting forward, and then keep going forward. And I'll always know where all my enemies were at all times.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So do you think you'll get the consumer version then?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
My name is Bob Simpson, and I'm a business development manager at Mobcast EC.
Okay. And how was your time in the Oculus?
It was good.
Yeah.
It was short but sweet. It was when I put it on, it kind of took a while to get the sweet spot to kind of adjust to the kind of field of view and the focus. But like after about 30 seconds or so, it all kind of just feels really natural. You know, you can look behind you, look around inside the cockpit. It's just extremely immersive. It's really
cool. Which demo did you do?
I did Hawken.
Okay.
I played Hawken.
Had you played that previously?
Yeah, just a little bit, just a regular PC on my terrible laptop computer, so it was a nice step up.
Yeah, so was it a more interesting experience with the Rift?
Absolutely, yeah, no doubt.
Did you join the Kickstarter, or are you interested in developing for it?
No, I'm not a developer at all, but I did not participate in the Oculus Rift Kickstarter, but just kind of following it like everyone else. It just seems like a really interesting product.
Yeah. After trying it, do you think it's living up to the hype?
Oh yeah, no question.
So you think you'll get a consumer model maybe?
Once it goes consumer, then I'd love to. You know, if the price is right, and you know, I don't look like I kind of freak out my wife or anything like that when I'm playing it. But yeah, no. It'd be a great thing to have just lying around the living room.
I'm Nick, and I'm showcasing my game at booth number 9 at GDC Play.
And so you just tried out the Oculus Rift. How was it?
Yes, it was pretty interesting. It's not really awesome right now because well, it looks really good on screen, but when you get really close in the Oculus device itself, you can actually see the pixels, and there's a tiny bit of ghosting. They said the screen they're using is not as good as they want it to be. So it was a pretty awesome experience. I tested Hawken. I was really excited to test Team Fortress 2, but I couldn't so far. So yeah, so far it's amazing.
Okay. Did you join the Kickstarter?
No, I have not. I wanted to, but it ran out by the time I decided to back it. So yeah, I might order one later on.
Are you interested in developing for it?
It would be interesting. I mainly make 2D games, but it would be an awesome tool to play with.
My name is Catherine Timchuk, and I'm a 3D artist, just exploring possible job opportunities at GDC.
Okay. And how long did you wait to try the Rift?
What time is it right now? 2 hours?
Wow. Was it worth it?
Oh yes.
Yeah?
Definitely. I'm so used to seeing everything as planes and just in the 3D environment in Maya. When you actually see it, stereoscopic 3D is just mind-blowing.
Do you think this will have an impact on what you do?
Definitely. It's no longer just staring out the mech. You have to design the inside of the mech. You have to make sure everything looks great from every angle. So you're not looking at it flat anymore, you're seeing it 3D. You have to make it more realistic, more believable.
So did you know about the Rift before coming to GDC?
I did, but I didn't know it would be here.
Okay.
That awesome.
Do you think it lived up to the hype?
Definitely.
Yeah. Were you part of the Kickstarter or anything?
No, I wish I was though.
So how was, you played Hawken, right?
Yes.
And how was that?
Very good.
What, can you tell me a little bit about like what you did, what it felt like?
Just mostly explored the world. Felt very different. I want to go back and do it again. I don't want to wait for another 2 hours.
You think you'll definitely get the consumer model?
Oh, definitely. It's only for $300. It's so worth it. I have to pick up 2 or 3 of them too.
Jonathan Clark, and I'm a freelance environment and texture artist.
Okay. And you just jumped out of the Oculus Rift. How was that?
It's pretty amazing. I gotta say, it's by far the best demo of VR I've ever seen.
Okay. And have you tried other systems in the past?
I've tried like Vuzix and some of those other, like this, I think Sony makes one as well, kind of that home theater kind of glasses. But with those, you get this really just definitive tunnel effect. It looks like you're looking at a window far away. You can see the outside world, and there's virtually no field of view. It's like 4:3 aspect ratio on most of them. This is completely different. I mean, it takes up most of your field of view. It's the ultra low latency head tracking. I mean, you just can tell that when you're looking around, it feels like you're looking around. There's very, very little delay. It's hardly noticeable.
Well, what demo did you try?
It was the Hawken demo.
Have you played it before?
I never played it before, but I can imagine it being, the stereoscopic just makes it so immersive, more than, you know, like any kind of, I've played plenty of mech games before, but it's a completely different experience actually being able to control your mech and looking around without using another joystick necessarily, just using your head.
Would you be interested on working on games that use the Rift?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Do you think it has any implications for what you do with games?
Very much so. I think it's going to change a lot of things, and I think it's going to be a very big deal in the future.
When you first put it on, what was your initial, like, what was the thing that stood out to you?
It took a second to get oriented, but once I did, it really felt natural. I really felt like I felt like I was in the cockpit. It didn't feel like I completely lost my sense of space, that I was sitting down in an expo hall with a whole bunch of people staring at me. It didn't feel anything like it at all.
Eiko Ishiwata.
And you just tried the Oculus Rift. How was it?
It was great. It was phenomenal. I haven't really experienced anything like that before. I like how everything is blurry. Then when you focus on, when you turn your head, it becomes sharper. It's very different from the cinema where you're forced to look at, you know, the perspective.
Yep. So it's more like you're the director, whereas instead of the director telling you where to focus.
Yeah, and I felt very immersed when I looked behind. I was almost trying to touch the back of the mecha.
And was it dizzying or anything like that?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it fun to fly around, or?
It was very fun.
In the game, what were you looking at? What was exciting?
I was more fascinated about the depth, and when I was flying up, I was looking down. It felt very immersive.
Cool. Do you think you would get one?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Fritz Olsen, and I'm an art director at Snowcastle Studios in Norway.
And you just tried the Oculus Rift. How was it?
It was awesome. It was really sort of a new experience. Like just like looking around. I forgot about looking around because you're not used to that. But yeah, it just definitely felt like true 3D. The only thing is that the screen is quite low resolution. So I'm really looking forward to the commercial version where they have a much sharper screen, because then you will really, because you know it's quite like grainy with lines, so that sort of ruins the immersion a bit. But other than that, it's really amazing.
And are you interested in developing for it?
Yeah, well, it definitely would be fun if I made like a really sort of fast, dynamic game, but with first-person game. But I'm not so. Yeah, but for racing games, any first-person game, of course, this would be, you know, essential.
And what demo did you try?
The Hawken game.
Have you played it before with the Rift?
No, I've never tried it before, but I've heard a lot about it.
Okay, cool. So overall, pretty positive experience?
Oh yeah, definitely.
You think you would get one, dev kit, or maybe the consumer model?
I will definitely get a consumer model.
My name is Paul Peterson. I'm here to check out stuff.
Okay.
New stuff, new games, whatever.
So are you a game developer or anything like that?
No. I code, but I'm not with a game company.
Okay. And so you just stepped out of Hawken, right?
Yes.
How was that?
It was interesting. I'd already played Hawken, and I'm not my type of game, so whatever. But the Rift was obviously what I was there to try. So that was interesting. It was, gives you a lot of freedom of movement, a lot of freedom of looking around. It's the first time I've ever been able to do that in a game, really. Like there's a few first-person shooters out there that have like controls that allow you to look left and right, sort of, lean around corners. They don't work very well. You have to get really good with those controllers to be able to do that well. And I think this is a huge step forward in terms of where that's going. Like you could actually tilt your head, look around.
So as a gamer, you're pretty excited about it?
Excited. I want to start writing a game for this now. I think it works very well. And it was, well, the demo version, it's kind of low quality, the screens inside, but whatever. They said that was just for the demo version. So, but yeah, it looks like something I'd actually want to make a game for. So.
Okay. And so what did you think was maybe the coolest part of the demo?
Coolest part, just being able to look around. I mean, I've never been able to do that in a game. You always have to turn your entire body, right? And it's a completely different experience. Yeah.
As a gamer, what if you could take one game that you love and make it totally VR compatible with the consumer version of the Rift? What would it be?
Oh man. I'd probably go with like Portal. Or something with really interesting visuals. An MMO would work really good for that, like something that you can just explore and look at a bunch of different places. I played EverQuest back in the day. It looks like shit now, but I mean, I would play it again just to see EverQuest in that sort of 3D environment.
My name is Tracklord. I work for an augmented reality company called Matayo. We're here at the GDC. It's an awesome conference.
And you just got out of the Oculus Rift. Do you think it lived up to the hype?
Yeah, I actually didn't hear too much of the hype. It was just a few of my friends telling me about it. But definitely, I heard more than a few people tell me it was the #1 thing I had to check out here at GDC. So I got here at 9:58 and stood in line. And yeah, I think it's good. It's still got a little bit of ways to go on the pixelation and the frame rate, but as far as a really immersive experience that doesn't make you motion sick, it's definitely way ahead.
So you didn't have any problems with nausea?
No, not at all actually. I mean, then again, I'm sort of an old hand in this kind of technology. I don't know about the normal consumer, but for me, it was fine. It was just like riding a bike.
What did you think was most exciting about it?
I think, well, I mean, what they were featuring, you know, you can they set the game protocols differently, so you can, for instance, do infinite thrust and go up really, really high, and then fall, just sort of like get that sensation. I thought the ability, the combination of using the analogs to look around as you would in a general first-person shooter, plus simultaneously being able to, you know, look around the cockpit, that's a pretty awesome feature. And it's something that if you drive in the car or if you're actually in a vehicle, you do anyway. You know, while you're driving, you can check the blind spot, you look around. You don't necessarily always have to be looking straight forward. So it's cool to, especially they're going to incorporate more physics and stuff to get that kind of real-time, real-life gaming aspect of it.
And are you interested in developing for it?
Maybe. I don't know. Our software isn't necessarily meant to be in like a VR game situation, but if we ever had a client coming to us that was like, look, we want to do a really immersive virtual game, then I would definitely look at these guys as the first
And you think you'll get a dev kit or maybe a consumer model?
No, I really don't have time, unfortunately. This is about the most time I get to spend playing video games each year. One of the reasons I love this conference. But I know people that I work with that would probably get one, definitely.
So
especially if they keep the price point at around $300.
And you think virtual reality is definitely a way forward for games?
It's difficult to say way forward because the virtual reality just takes that kind of psychological immersion that we have anyway. I mean, you get a big screen, you get into a game, you're playing it for hours and hours and hours. What I like about the virtual reality is that it just adds different elements to it. I'm not sure if it's like step forward advancement, but it's definitely a new interface. And I think a lot of games can benefit, but then on the other hand, not all games will benefit from a fully immersive, state. There are ways, there are other things out there, but for a game like Hawken, it's basically perfect.
My name is Johannes Robbins. I'm a level designer for a lot of companies, but right now I'm working on iPad games. So
okay.
Yeah.
And you just stepped out of the Oculus Rift. How was it?
It's the holodeck delivered. I was worried that the field of view wouldn't be big enough. It's dead on. My friend over here saw me reaching for a control panel, and I was like, "Where's my hand?" It's that good. It's that I am utterly blown away. This is what we've been waiting for. Like I said, I know a lot of people on the Meant to Be Seen forums have been trying to sit there and say, "Oh, it's not enough field of view." I can sit there and say, "It is enough field of view. You feel like you're there." Things feel like they can be touched and used. This is what we've been looking for. The holodeck exists, and Oculus did it.
So what jumped out at you when you first put it on?
I was playing in the mech, and like I said, the key thing was I wanted to reach out and grab controls. I wanted to touch my environment around me, and it was kind of weird, sitting there and not seeing my hand doing that, and that sensation I've never experienced in any platform ever in my entire life.
Mm-hmm. And so, are you interested in developing for it?
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I think the good news is that with Hawken and Star Citizen and games like that, a lot of people have the right idea about where to begin. I'm going to need to really think as a designer. What can I do that somebody else isn't doing already, and really bring out the technology in a positive way. But it's going to revolutionize a lot of things, and PC gaming is back. This is awesome.
Did you back the Kickstarter?
Yes, absolutely.